Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you are in the world. You know who it is, JJ, right here on JJ's PC Builds. You know what today is? Today is Graphics Card Nightmares. Right here, before we get started, I just want to welcome all the new subscribers that have subscribed to the channel. Welcome to the family, the JJ's PC Builds family. Just want to welcome you all in real quick. And if this is your first time watching the video, make sure you subscribe. We're working towards 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And what I mean by 4,000 watch hours is that if you watch each video that we have, when we got 100 plus more, maybe close to 200, if you watch every video from beginning to end, it helps putting towards us to be monetized. And once we go monetized, then we go to a new goal, and then I will let y'all know what the new goal is. But y'all pretty much know what the new goal is. We're trying to work towards bettering the channel, getting more stuff for the channel, more equipment, more, stuff to do builds and stuff like that. I am still working towards that goal. So even though, if you want to help the channel, please subscribe. Watch the videos from beginning to end. That would help the channel. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to the nightmares. If y'all watched last week, I showed you the prices on some of the nightmares that are going on. Y'all know that's coming like April 12th, April 13th. They got new video cards coming out for nvidia. Okay? There's speculation on the prices and stuff like that. Some are saying, $499, $599. Some are saying $750. I'm not going to speculate on the price. A week before they're supposed to come out, they'll have the prices posted, nvidia will, and then the AIB partners will post their cost as well. So I'm not going to speculate on the prices of those until it's time. I want to see nvidia's actions and what they're going to be doing next, and also too with AMD to see if they're going to have anything coming out in the month of April. This is April Fool's Day. I think it's on April 1st if I remember right, but if it's not, then y'all can quote me and let me know in the comments below. So this would be a good April Fool's Day for somebody, so don't fool me with these phony prices. So, that would be like fooling the customer on, when they go to buy a graphics card, they say, oh yeah, it's $99, and then turn around, they say, well, you got the taxes, here's another $100 tax on this, so it's $199, and they'd be like, huh? Don't be fooling somebody like that. But anyway, we are gonna go ahead and flip the screen, and we flip the screen once again. Let's go ahead and open up the browser and let's go to Amazon, see what's going on. And I'm taking y'all along step by step, and these are today's prices in real time. Understand this. Now, from the time that I'm showing you at the end of this video to the time I post this video will probably be an hour and a half. So that's pretty much about the amount of time that elapses from me doing the video, which it's uncut. I don't chop the video up in little pieces and then place it here, there, everywhere. It's one set piece. I just add to the whole video, and boom, you got real time. Everything is in real time, uncut, just to let you know. Let's go ahead and do the Amazonian thing. Okay, we got the Amazon going on, and we are looking into the graphics cards. We'll go ahead and do that real quick, and then change this up a little bit and put that to computers. And we'll go from here. Okay, now looks like somebody's trying to sneak one in on these 580s and 590s and stuff like that. So it looks like that the $119.58 for a 580, the prices still haven't changed. 1660 Super for 169. Looks like this graphic card company here, you know they're buying, I have a feeling they're buying their parts out of China. And they're reselling them, because when I bought a graphics card from these people right here, it wasn't as great as y'all thought it was. So I think they're just buying a cut down card and they rework the BIOS on them and then they resell them. I really don't. To me, I don't trust those graphics cards, because those can become your worst nightmare. Okay, like I said, with the 3060 329, the price has not changed since last week. 3050, between a 3050 and a 3060, small price difference, price to performance wise. To me, the 3050 is still overpriced. Okay, for 128-bit 3050, the only difference that would give you that little bit more is because this has got PCIe 4.0. But the thing is, you come right back up here, and then, you can go and get an 8 gig card for 119 bucks. If you're looking to get an 8 gig card, especially if you run Second Life or something like that, 8 gig cards will run great. Even if it's a 3050, it shouldn't run that bad on Second Life. But anyway, 3070s are still overpriced. I think they need to come down a bit. I wouldn't get a 550 or 1030. Those are just nightmares waiting to happen. Let's see. 3070, like I said, is still overpriced. Now, I don't think I would be getting a HD 5450. I have one of those cards. They kind of don't work at all. So I do have that card, if I remember right. I got it around here somewhere. Okay, I'll have to look it up and show y'all later, the 5450. But that came out of an old system, so it's not really worth it. $249 for a 6600 8 gigabytes. I still think they need to bring that down to like $179. That would make that card worth a lot more. But compared to the 3050, I think the 6600 RX 6600 would be a better deal than the 3050, especially with one being at the 3050 is just, I don't know how to say this. It doesn't sit with me correctly. For the price point, there's no price to performance. Okay, so like I said, when it's hard for me to explain, it's usually means it's pretty bad. But there are some people that like them. Don't get me wrong. If you like them, that's your business. But in my opinion, I don't care for them, because there's better cards out there for less of price that beats the price of performance for the 3050. Okay, you want people, if you got a consumer, okay, we're going to get down to the brass tacks. I'm going to, just take a pause for a moment, and I keep doing that for some reason. But anyway, listen, when it comes to a consumer and the way inflation is right now and everything else, everybody's looking for something that's at low cost. Now, if they can find a card that's at low cost, but with better performance, than some of the cards that are out there, what do you think the consumer is going to be buying? They're going to be buying a low-cost card with better performance. That's what you call price to performance. So this means that it's a better price to the performance of other cards that are out there. So getting back to the action screen once again, let's see what we can go down the road for. Okay, 3060 Ti 419, that's still too high. 3060 V2OC 12 gigabyte 389. Don't get me wrong, well, 389, that's, I mean, if they bring it down to like 299, maybe that might be a better deal instead of, getting a 3050 at 299. I mean, I would take the 3050 down to 199, and that would be a better deal for the simple fact because it's only got 128-bit GDR6. Okay, it's only 128-bit. There are some cards that got 192-bit. There's some cards that got 256-bit, and so on. The higher the bits, the better. So that gives you a better advantage when it comes to gameplay. Now, depends on if you get it from eBay or you get it from Amazon or you get it from Newegg, you get it from Micro Center, or you get it from wherever you get it from. You still got to price them out, and you still got to look at, well, what kind of performance you're going to get. Is it the right card to buy? So the higher you go in the bits, the higher you go in PCIe, the better you're off. The higher you go in cores, the better you are, and so on and so on. The higher, not lower, higher. You got to go up in the numbers. Everything that you see, if you go higher in numbers, will give you a better performance advantage. If you run 1080p and you don't need something that's gangbuster or anything else. You just need something that plays the game, that'll give you sensible performance on 1080p. Then you can go the 6600 or the 6650 XT from AMD. Or if you can get a low-cost 3060, 12 gigs on the Vcache, then that's the best way to go. Something you can afford. If you can afford less than, let's say you got a $400 budget for your graphics card. Okay, so you find something within the $400 budget. But if you can save yourself a little bit of bucks down the road and still find something that plays very well, then you're not looking so much, to where you can say, well, yeah, I found something. Some people say, well, go to the 2060, the 2080s, but that all depends on if you can find them, And also, too, make sure y'all find your drink and your snacks because, this video might be 45 minutes, it might be an hour. So, do find your drink and snacks in your hands. So, and stick around to the end. I'll give you my absolute conclusion to what I think about some of the cards and, so on and so forth. So you got to stick to the end. But anyway, moving on down the road, let's go ahead and look at some more prices. Now, $379, $380 for a 3060, 192-bit, and it's PCIe 4.0. But now, another thing. When you look at the PCIe, it can say 4.0. Make sure it says X8 or X16. Do not get nothing that says X4. Then you're going to lose performance. I have tried an X4 card, an X8 card, and an X16 card. Okay. Big performance difference, I think. Everybody says, well, there's not much of a performance difference between blah blah. Yes, there is. If you go down to a PCIe 4.0 X4, then you might as well get a 3.0 X8 or a 3.0 X16 for a cheaper price. if you're going to go down to 4.0x4. Just my opinion. You know, if you get a 3.0x16, it's still, to me, it's still going to be equal to a PCIe 4.0x4. So, you know, the more lanes you got to operate with, the better you're off. If you got all 16, then you're better off. Now, if you got a 3.0x16, you're better off. If you got a 4.0x16, you're better off. Keep that in mind too. I've had 3.0x16s run just as good as the 4.0 x16, but make sure they're x16. That's the key trick. So moving on down the road, and you know, I mean, these 2 GB cards are DDR3 are out of date. If you got an old system and you need a new graphics card, but you don't need that much VRAM and everything else, then that $46 card will be perfect for you. But you know, with some of your older systems too, you can still go to like this one right here, the 5500 XT. That's still not a bad card. A lot of these cards been popping up around the block. So let's go ahead and do this real quick, and let's go the RX 5500 XT specs and have a peeky-boo. Okay, so we'll go to Tech Power Up. We'll look up the 5500 XT. They have different, you know, case versions, so but they pretty much all operate the same way. I mean, if you got like 1408 cores, 88 TMUs, 32 ROPs, 4 gigabytes, and GDR6, I think they make an 8 version if I remember right. So we need to look for, let's say we go to an ASRock, okay? And you know, look at the same here, but the difference is it's 8 gigabytes. Okay, so, and thinking close to it, this one is pretty much close to, this one's an X8, and what we do is, this is an X8. See, this one's pretty much close to the way that one is. So I would imagine it's pretty much, you know, close in numbers. I mean, pulls 130 watts. You know, it's got OpenGL 4.6. That's not bad. It's got 6.7 shaders. But I'll tell you what, this card right here, if you're running, let's say you're running on Second Life, right? This card right here would run pretty good on Second Life. Okay, just to let you know that. It would run pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I would even use it, believe it or not, because I look at it this way. My integrated graphics, if I go to the and I'll look this up. Okay, so 5600G, what I use right here. Okay, so you know, it still will work with the 300 series, 4 or 500 series motherboards. It's got the Vega 7. So we go backwards a little bit. And We'll see what we come up with. So, looking at the numbers right here, I mean, at 1280 or 1080, this is 720, this is 1080. I mean, this is relatively close to what I got, right here. So, in basic performance, they're saying 109%, single channel 70% compared to an 11900K. So Gen 11 compared to the 5600G, and they're saying the GT 1030, that it's kind of a better deal with the integrated graphics when it comes to this. Okay, but all in all, this card right here would be great improvement. Would be a great improvement compared to well, let's go backwards. This would be a great improvement compared to, and I'm sorry I was kind of hesitant just a few seconds ago, but compared to what I have right now for $139, I would have a better deal if I were to get this for $140. If I were to get this card, because it is an X8. Okay. Now, integrated graphics that I'm running is running 3.0 X16. So, this is X8. Plus this GDR6. And, I think the integrated graphics are at GDR5, if I remember right. So, if that's the case, this right here, this card would be a better deal for $139. That's not much of a nightmare, but it is a good card. 8 gigabytes GDR6 overclocked, 128-bit. I know it's 128-bit, but when you're running integrated graphics, it's almost close to equal. So, it's kind of a better deal. So, moving on down the road of better deals, I had this card. Like I said, I did a video on it. You can check it out. It's somewhere in there. 4 gigabytes. The card was not bad. It's just, the thing is this. Okay. On Steam, when I was playing Steam, the game Eve, it was giving me the same performance as the integrated graphics. Okay. And I plugged that card into this system for it to be on the equal, to show me equally or greater if the integrated graphics was better or worse compared to the 6500 XT. But as I realized down the road, that it was only 64-bit. And on the integrated graphics for the 5600G, I can take the RAM and move it up to 8 gigs and dedicate 8 gigs of RAM to the integrated graphics compared to the 4 gigs that was on the 6500 XT. So the 6500 XT to me is not a great deal. Now, what is a great deal would be the 5500 XT. If they would have had this card out at the time that when I got this card, then the thing is this: I would have chose the 5500 XT over it. Because the 6500 XT is a complete nightmare. I mean, when you go to test it, it drops off. When you go to put it under load, it drops off. It just drops off. And it was just a nightmare for me. So I didn't like how it tested. It kind of sucked. So moving on down the road. Let's see. We spent 25 minutes on Amazon. Alrighty. So now let's go ahead and flip the script. Let's go to Newegg and see what they got. Like I told you all, I'm going to take you along with me, and you're going to go through every bit that I go through as far as finding things, going from the home page to where I'm going to find all the deals, if they're deals or they're not deals. Okay, so if they're deal makers or deal breakers. Now, it depends on what they are to make them a deal maker. Now, the deal breaker is that when the cards are over, let's say if, like I told you, you have a budget and you keep your budget down below $400, just for a graphics card, because you shouldn't have to pay over $400 for a graphics card, especially a good one. And that's my opinion. You shouldn't have to spend over $400 to find them. Even this one for $364, I know I said, it should be $299 in my books. So that's kind of a deal breaker to me. The 4070 Ti's and the 4090s, they're still deal breakers to me. 3070 is a deal breaker. 1660 Super, well, that's going to become an extinct card sooner or later, so you're going to not get the full driver updates that you want, so it's kind of a deal breaker for me. Now, Millsy for $399, that's a deal breaker. 6600, you can still get the driver updates for the 6600. That's a deal maker to me. I think it's the PCIe, I think it's 4.0 X8 or X16 on the 6600. A lot of people are starting to use those. They're starting to get good reviews on it. So, just to let you know, they are a great card, I think, in my books. I don't know about this one. For it to be $119, there must be a reason why. There must be a really good reason why. See, they got the 5500 XT. I know a friend of mine's got a 5500 XT. And they have no complaints about the 5500 XT. So I know if they're not complaining that it's going to be a really great card and it's in its own ball of wax. So it might be something that y'all might want to consider. Especially if you're looking for a budget card. 5500 XT is a good budget card. Especially being 8 gigabytes and PCIe 4.0 X8. It's still a good budget card. If you want to keep within a budget, that's really a good budget card. Especially if you're not playing heavy DirectX games, because with heavy DirectX games, the FPS might be down, maybe down to 50 or 40, but might be closer to the dirt. So just keep that in mind too. If you're wanting to play Hogwarts and stuff like that, these new games that just come out, you're best off to stick with the higher card that's up there, like a 12 gigabyte of VRAM card or greater, so that way you don't miss out on anything. But it all depends on the appearance too. So like I told you, I'm not going to take and shift to 1440p or 4K just yet, because I don't see any advantage. In my eyes, I don't see any advantage to going up to the higher ones just yet. I'd rather stay on the budget, and this way I can still get something new, something that's better, and I can keep progressing up forwards to the better. without having to pay the high price. So do think about that too. You want to stick around in some of the prices if you're, if you want to stay within a certain budget, then, you really have to think about what kind of budget you want to stay in. You know, it depends because you got to remember, if you're just buying a graphics card, okay, you got everything else, and you're buying just a graphics card. Now, the thing you have to think is, one, do you have enough power supply? Two, do you have enough width and enough length on your computer case to support the new graphics card? Do you have enough airspace? Do you have enough incoming air rush to, do you have enough turbulence in there to flow decent amount of air to keep the card cool? Got to think about that too. Do you have an advantage in your case with the new card with you want to go water cooling? You want to do your own water cool system. Do you have enough room with the new GPU that's in there? If you get a 3 fan, a 2 fan, or a 1 fan, do you get ITX? It's a lot to think about, and it's a lot to put together. But in all simple reality, it's not hard. You think about, you measure the length of your case and the width, and then you take those numbers and you look at the length and the width of those graphics cards and compare the soup to nuts to it. Then you'll know what kind of graphics card you can fit in your case. Also, too, look at your power supply. Now, these days, people are running from 850 watt power supplies or greater if they're just going to run the basic 8 pin or, the 8 pin graphics cards, the one that, have the 8 pin plug-in slots, or, the ones that have 2 8 pins or 3 8 pins. Depends on what your power supply can handle. Now, if you got a modular power supply that has 3 8 pin connection plug-ins, then you're perfect for getting in one of these older style cards. Now, they're saying in April, which this is April, when some of these new cards come out, it might be in May, nvidia might have a 40 series card with 8 pin connectors on it, instead of that 12 or 16 pin connector thing, that fire trap that they got for their other GPUs. They might have, a 4060 or a 4050 that has 8 pin connectors. So do stick around for that. If they do, then you can run, an older power supply. You don't need one of those newfangled power supplies to run those cards, if that's the case. So they might have one smaller, just like the regular, 30 series. So it's something to think about and see what they got in April and May and June, if they got something that's going to come out that's really good. So make sure y'all keep an eyeball on that, and if I find out any other information, I will let you know. Now what we're going to do, since we looked through Newegg, and trust me, most of the prices on 90% of their GPUs that they're selling on there are all high priced GPUs. I seen a couple that were kind of low priced, but I don't think the dog will wag his tail on those. So now let's go to eBay. eBay. eBay, not e-waste. I keep saying e-waste. I'm sorry. I can't help it. Okay. So let's look at the graphics cards. I'm sure you're not going to buy that one right there, because that's an RX 550. I know you're not probably going to get the 590. Probably will. Looking at the way the 590 is, they're bidding on a 5600 XT, A400 16 gig GDR6, 475. If it's got the outputs and everything else for your monitors, I would might consider that one. That one I might consider, because most of your cards that are 16 gig are more than double what this is. So something to think about. Make sure it has all the soups and nuts. You know, what we can do is we can look at the soups and nuts. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take and look at the specs on Tech Power Up. Okay, let's see the action. Wow. And if y'all are seeing this, look, A4000. What is it in between the 6750 and the 3070? So the 3070 is only 6% higher. Okay, and it's 4.0 X16. Memory clock looks pretty good. 140 watts. It's got 6,104 shading units, 192 TMUs, 96 ROPS, SM counts 48, Tensor Core 192, RT Core 48. It's got L1 and L2 cache. Okay, now the pixel rate looks pretty good. The FP16.5 looks pretty good. FP64, that's iffy. But it's got 8.6 CUDA cores, and it's 4.6, and it's DirectX 12 Ultimate, the second, not the first, the second. And it's 256-bit bus, GDR6, 16 gigs, bandwidth is 448 gigabytes. It's got 17,400 million transistors. Samsung, it's Ampere. And is there anything else? Now if they're saying that this is equal to or close to a 6750 and a 3070, and the prices on a 3070 are way over what the prices on that are. Now that's something to think about. You know, for $475. That's something to think about too. So just to let you know, I had a peek, and that don't look like as bad as everybody would make it out to be. So they do have 1660 for $144, 6700 for $299, 5700 8 gigabytes for $163. Well, that's not bad for the 5700, and it's 8 gigabytes. 56 XT, I ain't bidding on something like that. This one, no, I wouldn't do that one. 6700 XT, 300. 1070, no, that's a nightmare card. 1660, somebody bids on it. 470, nope, nightmare. 1650, nope, I would not get that one. No, I wouldn't get this one neither. Oh lordy, they're really pulling out the old ones. Oh, they're really pulling out the old ones today, y'all. I'll tell you. Let's just keep moving down the road. Wow. I think the A4000 would be better because it has 16 gigs compared to an 8 gig. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Graphics card, GPU, and fan shroud, $2.49. Really? You ain't gonna sell the whole graphics card, you're just gonna sell that. That's basically you tore one apart and you're trying to sell it as is. That right there, no, I would not even attempt it. Let's see. 199 sponsored by, that's direct from MSI from what that says, compared to 223 or 230 over on Amazon. Better deal right here, but it's refurbished. Now a lot of people saying, well, they don't like the refurbished is because you don't, it doesn't act right and this and that. Yeah, but you still get if you don't get a warranty with that, then you're screwing yourself on it. So, you know, basically you just got to know how to buy. That's all it comes down to it. $550 for a 2080 Ti? Really? Why would I buy that when I can get something that's 16 gigs for less? I don't think so. So, y'all might see that as a good deal. I don't see that as a good deal. Not especially when they put a cap on it and they say, well, you're capped. Your cap is that you got to spend $550 to get the card, regardless if you bid on it or not. It's still going to cost you $550. Make sure you watch that little 1022 on that. But anyway, let's get on with the show. Let's see. What else? Wow. They got the T1000 for 127. It's not bad. But I don't think I'm going to be paying, I don't think I would pay 127. Especially if they're tacking on shipping, that's just cheesy. Either they pay for the shipping or they ain't getting my money. That's the way I look at it. Parts only. Well, what the hell? Oh, Lordy. But as y'all can see, I'll just flip through real quick so y'all can see the goods and the bads and the uglies of eBay, and you can see the goods, the bads, and the uglies. So this is pretty much of the goods and the bads and the uglies today. You got a couple in there that I seen that might be scams. So anytime you bid on something, make sure you know what you're bidding on. And make sure that you get some kind of proof from the seller that it is what it says it is. Because if you get a card and it doesn't say it is what it is, then you're pretty much screwing yourself. So make sure you get some kind of proof. You know, wow. Why are they going to bid $1,358 on the 4090? Especially when you probably don't even know if it's been opened or it's been molested. You don't know what's going on with it. Oh my goodness. 16 gigabyte GDR6. And that's a 6800. Don't see too much repos going about them 6800s. Not too many people are talking about them. You know, I mean, 6700 for 309, and you hope the card ain't broken. You know, when you don't see the wrapper on a card, the original wrapper that, you know, these manufacturers put it in, then you don't know if it's good or bad. I mean, you don't know if it's been refurbished or they stuck their hands up in the skirt and you don't know what they've been doing. So, you know, you have no idea what they could have been doing. Okay, now we get away from e-waste and we go over to Micro Center and see what's happening. So let's go over here to Micro Center. If we can get there. Nope, I don't need my personal information put out there. So oh my god, I don't know how to spell. Alrighty. Da, 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 da. Micro Center. Waiting on Micro Center. Huh. That's interesting. Waiting on Micro Center. Why am I waiting on Micro Center? Let's see. Microcenter.com. There we go. I think the internet was being a little finicky today. Wow, $2,000 for 4090. I got one here, the Supreme. You know, when they, if I remember, the Supreme was supposed to be water cooled. If I remember, it was supposed to be some kind of water cooling, but don't quote me on it. You know, it probably wasn't. Yeah, it is. Supreme Liquid right here. So for $50 more, you get one that's water cooled. You know, right here. An AIO. So that's not bad for that. But it does come with the fan on it and plus the water cooled. That is a good, pretty good hybrid deal. So they got the XLR8. I don't trust XLR8s. It's just my bag. I just don't trust them. Let's see. They got the 7900 XTX. Still $999. This is $1,099. They want to sell it to you for $100 more. You know, to where if you go on Amazon, they sell it to you for $50 more. So do your math. And as you can see, that's what it is. So let's keep moving on down the road. See, wow. They're actually selling the 7900 XTX at $999 at Micro Center. You see it right here. This is today's prices, and they're selling it at MSRP. Micro Center has one at MSRP, a 7900 XTX. Everybody, as you can see, make sure you, if you want to get $1,000 card, there it is, right at $1,000. So moving on down the road. I'm sorry, I don't have $1,000 in my back pocket just yet. But anyway, I'm sure most of you don't have that. Some do, but just to let you know. And if you're looking for the 7900 XTX, go to Micro Center. Maybe make a phone call to them. Tell them you're going to pick up one of them to reserve you one, and you put it down on the reserve or something like that, and go from there. So that might be a good thing for you. It might be awesome for you, but looking at $9.99 compared to $8.49, I would still go with the 7900 XTX. Now, if they moved it down to like $700, the 7900 XTX, they got another one here, Power Color 7900 XTX, $9.99. So, all in all, we're at 50 minutes, and I'm going to have to wrap it up. And as you can see what's going on with Micro Center, there it is. So, we're going to go ahead and just move over to the main screen and wrap it up right here. Okay, now you all have seen the prices for today, and as soon as I post out the video, you'll probably get a good deal either from Micro Center, eBay, Newegg, or Amazon. So all the deals are out there. It depends on what you're looking for and the games that you play. Now, if you play specific games all the time and you don't play anything else and you're looking for a new graphics card, make sure that graphics card supports the games you play and supports beyond that. So that way you can get best of the both worlds. Or if you don't care for all the other games that are coming out, you just want to play your specifics and you're looking for a new graphics card, then find one that meets the specifics of the games that you're playing. But again, I still say this just for future. Always look for one that goes above and beyond to all games, not just specifics, all games. That way you have enough of a discrete graphics card that will support you through every game you play. So make sure you got it out there and it's working good for you and everything else, and you're happy and satisfied. Once you get that one graphics card you're satisfied with, then stick with it. And always too, later on down the road, you can always get yourself a backup one in case the one that you got goes and takes a crapper on you. So that way you got a backup card. Or like I do, I got integrated graphics, and I can support it with I can add a discrete graphics card to this. So I can always have that support in the background for integrated graphics in case a discrete graphics card goes out. So, and believe it or not, it's vice versa. It is vice versa. If the integrated graphics goes out, but the processor still works, a discrete graphics card will work in its place, and it's vice versa. So that's one way to look at it. Always have that backup plan, so that way you don't have to go and scramble just to find something that'll work for your system, and then you get something you don't like, then you return it, and then you get a bunch of headache. Eliminate your headaches. Take your time, search for the card you want within your price point, and just purchase it. Because later on down the road, the card could either go up in price or it can go down in price. It can move you forward in price. It can move you backwards in price. It can move you to the side, and then it can move you to the side. You don't want that to happen to yourself. So basically, once you get it, keep a backup. Keep a folder with updated drivers for both cards on your computer, and then if you feel more safe, keep it on an SD card, little SanDisk card. Okay, keep it on an SD card, all the drivers, all the updates, everything that you need, so that way you never lose them and you always have them available to you. No matter if your computer goes down and you still can use the graphics card, always keep the drivers on hand on an SD card, so this way you can plug it in and you don't have to fumble and search around the whole internet to find them again. So do keep that in mind. So also too, keep this in mind. When the way I operate my graphics is I don't have that additional software in there. I kind of eliminate the role of additional software. Like I can put AMD Adrenalin in the software in so I can use it for the integrated graphics, but there's a but to this. I don't need that. All I needed was the drivers to update the integrated graphics. That's it. Nothing else. I don't need all that extra, what I would consider bloatware. So I don't need all that extra. I took out all the stuff that I had for the Asus motherboard. What was it? The Asus programming they had. I took all that out. It wasn't necessary. It only put in the minimal requirements that I need just to operate the motherboard. That's all I needed in there, nothing else. I don't need anything monitoring. I don't need anything balancing, because everything's done in the BIOS with this motherboard. This board, B450 motherboard, everything's done in the BIOS. I have in Windows, I have nothing controlling it in Windows. Except for the driver software, it goes from the BIOS to the driver software to the item and out. End of story. Extra bloatware is not valued or not needed because it slows down your computer. I kind of eliminated some of Microsoft's crap. I took out some of Microsoft's crap. I kind of, de-bloated the software. I'm still on Windows 10, but it still operates good. I still got till 2025. I can still operate this till 2025 and beyond, till about maybe 2028. So it's no big rush for me to go to Windows 11 when Windows 10 is already seasoned. It's already been, through all the updates they can do. So it's already been seasoned, and I'm happy with it. Windows 11, when I get there, then I'll work on that and get it the way I want it to be. And then after that, it'll be probably by then it'll be seasoned and it'll be ready to go. So, and then Windows 12 will come around and so on, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, as that comes around, I want y'all to make sure you come around. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to work towards 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. So make sure you subscribe if you want to support the channel. You watch all the videos from beginning to end. We have many videos you can watch from beginning to end. They are in the playlist. Go have a gander. I got many to look through. Some you probably get a giggle for and stuff like that. But, it's, not so much, dealing just with hardware. It's PC hardware. It's so much to give you all a little bit of a breath of fresh air and some excitement. So, but anyway, this is JJ on JJ's PC Builds. We will see you on the next one.